Hello spooky friends, and welcome back to another episode of Our Strange Reality. So tonight I'm going to tell you the story about the Ferry Plantation house. The Ferry Plantation house is located in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So the Ferry Plantation is very well known in the area. They claim to have up to 11 different spirits haunting the building. It's a high number. I don't know exactly how they can tell that there's 11 different ones, and how would you know that you have 11 distinct different spirits and not just like 6-ish similar ones? I don't know. But that's their big claim. To be fair, a lot of things have happened in that building, on that property, around that area. But that's their big thing, and they open up the place for paranormal investigators to come in and hang out at night and set up their equipment and try to collect evidence of paranormal activity in there. A lot of these groups, claim to get disembodied voices captured on EVP, photographic evidence, like orbs and stuff, whatever. So there's been a lot of evidence collected over the decades from all these paranormal groups and from the people that work there. So I haven't actually been inside the building in like 2 years now, so I don't know if they're running tours right now. If you want to take a tour inside the house, if you're in the area, very easily call them up and find that shit out. So the Ferry Plantation got its name from an old ferry service that ran up the Lynnhaven waterways. Duh. And that ferry service was started in 1642. Damn. So the ferry service was first commissioned by Adam Thorogood, who was a very wealthy landowner in the area at the time. And his home is also super spooky, and I already did a video on it a while back. It was just sort of a walk around outside the property in the gardens. So if you want to find out more about him and his spooktacular house, you just go to the older video, which is titled The Adam Thorogood House. We keep it simple here. So aside from the 11 spirits that haunt the Ferry Plantation, it's most famous for being the location of the witch ducking of Grace Sherwood, which I already did a video on her also, if you want to go back and watch that one, which is titled Grace Sherwood. Keep it simple. So further up on the plantation property near present day Old Donation Church used to be the old Princess Anne Courthouse. And this is the courthouse where Grace was tried and ultimately condemned as a witch. She was then taken to the Lynnhaven River, which you can see from the present building at Ferry Plantation. And her hands and feet were tied together and she was thrown into the water. Grace got herself loose and swam to the top. And this pretty much, again, condemned her as a witch to the huge crowd that was watching. Grace was then imprisoned in that old courthouse for a couple years. And that trial took place on July 10th, 1706. The third Princess Anne Courthouse was built in 1736, and that was built where the present building stands today. And that courthouse was used until 1751. So when that building was converted into just a family home, the old courthouse was just used as a kitchen, and the manor house was built around that. So that family residence that was built there was known as the Walker Manor, but their manor home burned to the ground in 1828. So 2 years later, the Walker McIntosh family decides to build the home again, and that is the home that is seen today that you can walk around in. I don't know, to me, the entire history of this building has always been a little confusing about what it was used for and what it was then converted into and what burnt down and what still stands, and it's a very long history, so I definitely recommend taking the tour or maybe doing a bit of your own research. I am not a professional historian. I just tell spooky stories, and let's face it, spooky stories are not 100% facts. They are stories. So that's the history of the home. And now, onto the 11 spirits. So obviously, the most famous spirit said to be seen in the home is Grace Sherwood, the Witch of Pungo. So, okay, I'm probably gonna get like a lot of flack for this. Please just bear with me on this one. So, Grace Sherwood, she was tried and held in prison in a courthouse that's way further away from where the present building is now, called the Ferry Plantation. And when Grace did get out of prison, she went back to her own home all the way out in Pungo. And then she grew old and died there. And she's buried out there. She's nowhere near the vicinity of where this house was. So I don't really know why she would haunt this house in particular that she had no connection to. I think it's just mostly because she is the most famous figure to be associated with the property, if not the house itself. And who doesn't want a cool witch story attached to their home? So one of the other more often seen spirits in the Ferry Plantation is that of Sally Rebecca Walk. And Sally is unfortunately one of your tragic, broken-hearted phantoms. The man she was engaged to died in battle. I don't know which one. And in 1863, Sally planted a magnolia tree outside in the garden, which is still standing today, in honor of his memory. So Sally is most often seen wandering the garden around this tree that she planted for her lost love. So the home also has its own lady in white, and it's apparently not the spirit of Sally Rebecca Walk. It is a woman who, I guess, died down the stairs and broke her neck sometime around 1826. A man named Thomas Williams, who grew up in the home and was an artist, his spirit is said to be seen still just sitting at the top of the stairs painting his masterpieces. Now on the second landing of the building, people claim to have seen the figures of two children pressed up against the wall, which sounds horrifying. I mean, what were they experiencing at the time to have left an impression like that in the building? In the dining room, there are two spirits that are often seen there, one of a little girl named Mary and one of an older woman named Margaret. When the little girl Mary is present, people claim to just see spots and shapes morphing along the wall. And Margaret, the older woman, is usually either seen with Mary or just standing in the dining room by herself, which would also be kind of horrifying to walk into. So the home also has a little trickster spirit, that of a little boy named Eric. So he likes to throw things, he likes to move things, he likes to misplace things. And people have also seen his figure standing above the stairs too. So this house just seems to be filled with spirits that like to lurk around and be creepy. So one of the spirits often seen on the plantation is that of a man named Henry. And it is claimed that Henry was a slave who was forced to work and live his whole life on the plantation. It is claimed that in life he was tasked with walking people from the ferry drop-off to the plantation, or vice versa. So Henry is usually seen out walking the lawn. So there are homes now built right on the water where the ferry used to be. And I guess when these homes were first built, the owner complained that every day he would find the furniture on their porch moved around. They went and talked to the people up at the plantation, and they just kind of as whimsically told them, well, that's probably Henry, because in life he had to make sure that the pathway to the ferry was always clear. Up on the third floor of the plantation are two small rooms, and it's claimed that you can hear frantic footsteps pacing back and forth between these two rooms, and they believe it's the spirit of the old nanny who used to work and live in the home, possibly some sort of imprint left from maybe something bad happening to one of the children. With the number of childlike spirits in the home, it's probably a big possibility. So those are the spirits most often seen. The Ferry Plantation also has lights turning on and off, footsteps, strange noises, all the typical hauntings. There are also claims before the neighborhood was built around the plantation, when it was just a dark, empty field, that you could see like balls of light flying around the property. But there is a lot of history that happened there. They're constantly finding evidence of the native Chesapeake tribe that lived there before, arrowheads, pottery, all that stuff. There's also a story that they like to tell. There's a tennis court in the back of the building, and it's claimed that it was built on a Native American grave site and is cursed, and that anyone who goes onto the tennis court ends up getting like severely injured. And I'm not saying that's true, but I am saying that I've never seen anyone on that tennis court. So those are the spirits of the Ferry Plantation house. It's a very pretty home, it's a very pretty garden, even with suburbia creeping ever slowly on top of it. So I did do a walk around video of the Ferry Plantation house. You could see the outside of the building, the gardens, you can kind of see the water where the witch ducking took place. And I'm also going to tell you about my own personal ghost experience that I had there. So here we go. Welcome to the very historic and very haunted Ferry Plantation house. Here is your horse hitch, where you can hitch your horse, in case you still travel like that. I would. There's a gray Sherwood sign, because this is the place where her witch ducking happened. And if you look across the street over here, in between these McMansions, you can see just a little sliver of the water there where her ducking took place. But of course, you know, any bit of waterfront property here gets built on with ugly fucking houses. Excuse me. And looks like they're trying to throw away some witches' brooms. It's not working, guys. We already know. Good job, though. Nice try. All right. And here is the walkway up to the house. Pretty. It is, of course, surrounded by neighborhood at this point, but at least there's this little bit left. Got a boat over there for ducking your witches. Every good colonial home needs one. Anyway. Yeah. Walk up here. So, as you can see, there's been additions added onto it. I think the white parts were the ones added around the Civil War time. And the rest of it was built much earlier than that. You can kind of see there's some dedications in the bricks here. Yeah, you can see there's a whole bunch of them in honor of sort of things. Oh, here's the one that, like, all right. Thanks, Liv. So I want to tell the story about the shadow person that I saw here. I was with 4 of the friends. It was nighttime, and we decided to split up into 2 groups. So 2 of my friends, we'll call them Paul and Athena, went off to one side of the house over here, and me and my other buddy, we'll call him Scott, we went to this side of the house over here. All right. So we come off this way. So the backyard over there. Try not to film anyone's backyards in a hard not home. Okay. So we're back here on the side. Okay, back of the house. So we round this corner here, and even in the dark, we see this like huge bulking figure come walking up right around here, and it was just like this huge, almost like a bodybuilder sized shadow, and we thought it was a cop. And so Scott was like, okay, go get the others, I'm gonna talk to the cop and we'll just get out of here. So I skedaddle on back over here, come back around, I see them, I see the other 2 over here, I'm like, hey guys, there's a cop, we gotta go. And so they come back. We come back around this way. And we see Scott just standing here looking pale and shocked. And I say, dude, where'd the cop go? And he was like, I don't know. They just disappeared. It just disappeared. Like, we got to get out of here. He was really, really freaked out. He's so freaked out. He's still, this was like years ago, and he still refuses to talk about it. Yeah. So I guess there's some sort of lumbering shadow person that we saw walking up the field over here towards us, towards the house. So after that, he was pretty much done and wanted to get out of here. So we came back along this way. Hello. Yeah. Trying to tell me witches live in here. Throwing away your brooms, whatever. Witch's kettle. I got some sifting device here. Garden. Okay, yeah. So we come back around this side of the house, all four of us. Came through here. And see, we're back around the front. And so we start walking this way, and now Paul is behind all of us, kind of lingering behind everybody. And when we get down to the cars, he was like, so I saw something walking behind you guys, like a shadow figure walking behind you guys. And that pretty much sealed the deal for everyone else that we had to get out of here. So that is the shadow person story of the Ferry Plantation. I guess one of the many spirits that reside here. So let me just take you back around again to just kind of look over the building. Really gorgeous old building. Really pretty garden. Right? Oh, with the sun setting. That's lovely. It's too bad horrible things happened here, like, you know, accusing innocent women of witchcraft and ruining their lives. Sucks. Now, one of these trees is considered the hanging tree, because again, this was the old courthouse and they used to hang people here. Hello. So that tree needed a drink. Libations. I get it. Go. House. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's that big tree right there. Say the big tree right there is the hanging tree. And next to the hanging tree, you have the forbidden tennis court. So this tennis court is supposedly cursed, a cursed tennis court. Guess they built it over a bunch of natives of the Chesapeake tribe on a burial ground. So of course that makes it a cursed court. And apparently anyone who plays here ends up like getting horrifically hurt. Looks nice though. Looks kept up. But that is the rumor, that is the story. Yeah. There you have it. Thank you for coming on this adventure with me into our strange reality. Stay spooky and many happy hauntings. My notes.